I'm glad. Wrath is our focus this week, and it is a deadly sin that has many faces, all of them ugly, and many victims, most of them small, weak, and vulnerable. My guests today have been victims of one of the most insidious forms of wrath, domestic violence. Insidious because it is violent anger at the hands of those we trust the most. But the women you're about to meet took a terrible situation and turned it around, finding their strength and a new life in the process, thanks to an organization called First Step, which has helped more than 600 women become financially independent and able to stand on their own. Please meet Vanya and Marisol, both victims of abuse with children to support and few resources. Vanya, Marisol, we were talking in the break, and we're going to let you each tell your own stories and then talk together, the three of us, about First Step. So, Vanya, let's start with you. You've spent 3 months, I should say the first 3 months, of your pregnancy homeless.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
That's the time that most women are celebrating the new life within them, and they are planning with their mate what's going to happen. But tell us what your first 3 months were like.
Well, my first 3 months being pregnant was, at first I didn't know I was pregnant. And when I found out that I trusted someone, and that person took my money, and I ended up on the street. And as an immigrant, and if you're not fully documented, you don't really speak and share too much about you. So that's how I end up staying that long.
Because you were afraid at any given point, if you go to authorities, that they would send you back, because you're originally from Jamaica.
From Jamaica.
And Jamaica was not, when you left Jamaica, it wasn't under happy circumstances.
No, I did not leave there under happy circumstances. I was molested and subsequently raped. And so my mother thought if she sent me here, that would give me a new start, and maybe I would have forgotten everything that has...
How old were you?
I was, when I initially became aware, I was 6 years old. And they rushed me back to my mom. She didn't know what had taken place. And as a child, your process of certain things is not really what, you don't know what the person did to you. And some adults sometimes train you to believe that it's a game, and to believe that nothing, it's
That's
just
how abusers do. They want to bring you
yes.
into their so-called little game, and then it takes you off your path of self-esteem and self-assuredness and safety. And so as you came to this country with all hopes and dreams and ended up homeless, you actually had to sleep outside on the street.
Yes, I'll never forget it. I slept in Left Rock City in Queens in one of the housing projects. And I had to travel with my things, my immigration documents, everything, all my personal effect that I brought from Jamaica. I had to travel with those things. Clothing, I would go into McDonald's and use the bathroom just to keep myself presentable, because I didn't want anyone to know that I was homeless.
And people look at you strange when they think you're homeless.
Yep. They look at you with disgust. They're going to their jobs, they're coming from their jobs, and they look at you. And I was visible pregnant, so of course they were looking at me like, okay, she must be a junkie, or she's an alcoholic, that's why she's there.
Not knowing what your circumstances are.
Nobody offered me any help, any information, even a bread to eat. So that really left an impression on me, where as I'm going through the situation, I was like, I gotta get out, if not for myself, for the child that I was carrying.
Marisol, you had your son at 15. And then you moved out of your home. You were not homeless, but you basically left the baby with your mother to raise. For all practical purposes, you were a child yourself, not ready to handle.
Right.
And you moved into a situation that became abusive.
Yeah, I moved out of my mom's house when my son was 4. And I started seeing this guy whose family was moving to Virginia. So I decided to leave with him, and I left my son, Chris, with my mom. I made a lot of bad decisions. He basically just held me down. I worked odd jobs, but any little bit of money that I did get, he would take. Not like physically take from me, but ask me for it, and I would give it to him because I thought that's what I needed to do.
You were beat down emotionally, weren't you?
Emotionally, yeah. I mean, I was not pretty. I was different names. I messed up his state of mind.
Who said you were not pretty?
He did.
Oh, girl, please, you got to pick up that mirror.
Oh, I know now.
Now you know. And I know, Vanya, we were chatting earlier that the emotional abuse and then physical abuse that you took when you got with a man who you thought, oh, this is my savior.
My knight in shining armor. I felt that, you know, being that he's from my country, he would understand, and that turned out not to be so. I was every name that was horrible under the book. I was dumb, I was stupid, I was unintelligent, wasn't smart. Wanted to go back to school. No, because you're illegal, you can't go back to school. And so I was trapped.
So physically abused, emotionally abused. Marisol, as I listened to you, I remember reading that you actually contemplated taking your own life. I know now, with everything you've accomplished, you can't even imagine what that's like.
My son was with my mother, you know, the life that I gave birth to, and I just couldn't take it anymore. My mother wasn't speaking to me, not because she hated me, but because of what I was doing for no reason at all.
Something changed in both of your lives, and we have good news that we want to share with you. When we come back, we're going to tell you about their first steps. Don't go anywhere. And yes, the three of us are sitting here crying, just crying from joy. We're back with Vanya and Marisol, both victims of abuse who turned around their terrible situation to become financially independent thanks to an organization called First Step. And I want to tell you all about First Step. First Step serves women in the 5 boroughs of New York. More than 36,000 New Yorkers sleep in emergency shelters each and every night, including 15,000 children. And the people who are eligible for First Step are women who are homeless, former homeless, or low income. And both Marisol and Vanya participated in their program. Vanya, it's a 14-week, 9-to-5 commitment, correct?
Yep. Yes.
And then Marisol, after that 14-week, 9-to-5 commitment, you get an 8-week internship.
Yes.
Assistance with one of my favorite organizations, Dress for Success, so you can get that fit out together. And then you get the job, and I'd like to let everybody know, Marisol, for the last 5 years, you have been working steadily and supporting your son.
Yes, ma'am.
5 years at Draft FCB, one of the best ad agencies in the country. And Ms. Vanya is about to celebrate her one-year anniversary working at one of the largest law firms in the country, and that is called, give me my name, it's Gertz & Savage.
Gertz & Savage.
I want to thank both of these organizations, as well as First Steps, for giving these ladies back their lives. Thanks to Vanya and to Marisol. You guys are amazing and inspiring.